This is not a message for everyone. If you are here, it is because you were chosen. Not by me, but by a part of you that you forgot existed. Tonight a window opens, a unique opportunity to activate a code that sleeps in your DNA, knowledge that Thoth and the ancient mystery schools have protected for millennia. This is your only chance to step out of the timeline of chance and into the geometry of your destiny. In the next few minutes, I will reveal the exact process for this activation, the symbolic death of your fragmented identity and its rebirth as a unified consciousness, the monad. But I need to be clear, this path is not for the faint of heart. Activation requires a decision, and the process is irreversible. Once the monad awakens, you can never go back to being who you were. The comfort of ignorance will disappear forever. If you are afraid to discover who you really are, close this video now. But if you are ready to reclaim your power and understand why your life has been exactly as it has been up to this point, stay. What happens in the end will change the very structure of your reality. If you feel the calling, comment. My journey begins today. All that we see is a shadow cast by that which we do not see. If this record has caught your attention, don't consider it a random event. There is a resonance that has drawn you here, a frequency that your soul recognizes amidst the incessant noise of the world. This feeling of disarray, of being an observer in a reality that seems meaningless, is not a flaw. It is the first sign that your consciousness operates on a different octave, an echo of a memory that predates time and space. You always knew there was something more. The feeling of being a stranger in your own life is a symptom of lucidity. You see the patterns, the repetitions, the gears of a social machine that operates at a level of consciousness you have already transcended. Your soul no longer fits into the boxes that have been offered to you. This discomfort is the driving force of your evolution, the necessary friction for the pearl of true identity to begin to form within the oyster of your current personality. Think about your journey up to this very moment, the crises, the losses, the encounters that seemed random but left an indelible mark. All of this was part of a precise orchestration, a series of events calibrated to lead you to this threshold. Leibniz's pre-established harmony is not a distant philosophical theory. It is the invisible mechanism that has guided your steps to this point, ensuring that you are ready to receive this transmission at the exact moment of your maturation. It's not about learning something new, but about activating what already exists in a latent state. You're not building a new identity, you're removing the layers of false identifications that obscure it. The truth about who you are isn't in a sacred book or an external master. It resides in the silence that pulsates beneath the noise of your thoughts, a unique and eternal vibrational signature that only you can access and authorize to operate. This is the turning point. From here on, ignorance ceases to be an option. The consciousness that brought you to this encounter now demands a decision to continue living as a reactive fragment or to assume your position as a conscious, powerful unit. What you do with this realization will define the trajectory not only of this life, but of your entire evolutionary cycle. The illusion of separation is about to die, and this death will not be gentle, and it is precisely to guide you through this deep transition that I need to take a quick pause. It is very common that when we feel this calling, we end up stuck in what I call the spiritual waiting room. We pray, create vision boards, try to be good people, and ask the universe for change. But the silence remains loud and frustrating. The problem is not your faith. The problem is that we are operating a powerful system using the wrong manual. The universe is a perfect mirror, so when we communicate through pleading, it simply reflects that energy of lack back to us. To change this, you need to access your source code. Society teaches us to be individuals, fragments in competition. The Pythagoreans called this the Dyad, the principle of division, conflict, and audacity. You have been conditioned to believe that you are a piece on a cosmic chessboard. But the truth is that this identity is an illusion, a temporary mask. The crisis you feel, this metaphysical longing described by Plotinus, is the call to the death of this separation. It is your soul refusing to continue participating in a poorly staged theater. This death is not a physical event, but a collapse of perception. It is the conscious dismantling of the identity that was built upon fear, comparison, and the need for external validation. Every time you felt inadequate, insufficient, or conflicted, you were feeding the Dyad. Every time you sought approval or feared judgment, you were reinforcing the bars of your own prison. The pain you feel is the pain of the fragmented ego struggling to survive. Letting that identity die is an act of supreme courage. It means abandoning the safety of the known, the crutch of victimhood, and the narrative that you are a product of your circumstances. It is looking into the abyss of being nobody, so that all that you truly are can emerge. This process is the true initiation, the dark night of the soul, where the false self is consumed by the fire of truth, leaving behind only the pure and indestructible essence. Plotinus spoke of an epistrophe, the movement of the soul's return to its origin, to the One. This journey back home is not a geographical path, but an inversion of consciousness. Instead of looking outward for answers, you turn inward. Instead of defining yourself by what you have or do, you anchor yourself in what you are. This inversion is symbolic death. It is the refusal to continue projecting your power and authority onto the external world. The conflict that defines the Dyad manifests in your life as anxiety, doubt, and self-sabotage. It is the internal civil war between what your soul knows and what your mind has been taught to believe. You are at a crossroads, a point of unbearable tension where the old structure can no longer hold. The death of separation is not a choice, it is an inevitability for a soul that has reached this level of maturity. The only choice is whether you will do it consciously or be dragged along. By allowing this death to occur, you lose nothing real. You simply shed the dead weight of an identity that was never yours. You stop fighting the flow of life and realize that you are the flow itself. The peace that follows is not the absence of problems, but the absence of inner conflict. And it is in this post-death silence that the true architecture of your existence finally reveals itself, showing that unity was never lost. Before division, there is unity. Gottfried Leibniz called it the monad, a simple substance without windows that reflects within itself the totality of the universe. You are not a part of the whole. You are the whole operating at a specific coordinate. Your consciousness is a living mirror of the cosmos. Understanding this is not an intellectual exercise, but a fundamental shift in the architecture of your perception. Your resilience in the face of crises that would destroy others stems from this. Your essence is self-sufficient, immune to fragmentation. The monad has no parts. It is indivisible. This means that in your essence, you are complete, whole, and need nothing external to feel fulfilled. The incessant search for a partner, for recognition, for wealth, is a symptom of monadic amnesia. It is your mind, operating on the logic of the dyad, trying to fill a void that does not exist at your fundamental level. Unity is not something to be achieved, but something to be rediscovered within yourself. Imagine your consciousness as a point of light. This point is not separate from other points of light. It contains the information of all of them. Each soul is a unique reflection of the same source, a singular perspective of the Absolute. Your individuality is not a separation, but the way the universe has chosen to experience itself through you. You are not a drop in the ocean, you are the entire ocean contained in a single drop, as the poet Rumi said. This monadic nature explains why you feel things so deeply. You are not only processing your own emotions, but acting as a resonance center for the collective. Leibniz's pre-established harmony suggests that each monad acts in perfect synchronicity with all others, not through direct communication, but because they all follow the same divine script. Your journey of awakening is not just yours, it sends ripples throughout the web of existence. The self-sufficiency of the monad is its greatest strength. It cannot be wounded, divided, or destroyed. What can be wounded is the ego, the personality, the mask you wear. When you identify with the monad, you become invulnerable, not in the sense of not feeling pain, but in the sense that pain can no longer define or diminish who you are. You observe the drama of life from a center of unshakable peace, the still point at the center of the turning wheel. Recognizing oneself as a monad is the end of solitude. How can you be alone if you contain the entire universe? The feeling of isolation is the last trick of the fragmented mind. The truth is that you are intrinsically connected to everything, not by external wires, but by a shared identity at the source. And this journey of recognition is not just yours. It is the story of a pilgrim who has traveled for millennia to arrive at this exact moment of remembrance. The Eternal Pilgrim. Your journey did not begin in this life. In Helena Blavatsky's Theosophy, the monad is the eternal pilgrim, the triad of Atma Buddhi Manas that traverses ages and forms to purify its light. Your current personality is merely one of the many costumes worn by this immortal actor. The sense of urgency that now pulsates within you is the climax of countless experiences, the point at which the pilgrim decides it is time to return to its origin, not out of defeat, but for the completion of its mission in density. Think of each life as a day of class in a great cosmic school. You have been king and servant, warrior and healer, wise and fool. Each experience, each mistake, each victory was a lesson absorbed by your soul, refining the perception of your higher consciousness. The feeling of already knowing certain things, the familiarity with places or people you have never met, are the echoes of these past lives resonating in your cellular memory, the footnotes of your long biography. The Atma Buddhi Manas triad represents your immortal essence, spiritual will, intuition, and higher mind. This is the true you, the silent observer behind the eyes of all your personalities. The current personality, with its fears and desires, is merely the temporary vehicle, the tool through which the monad interacts with the material plane. The crisis you are facing is a sign that the vehicle is no longer aligned with the driver's will. The pilgrim's journey is a process of descent and return. The monad descends into matter, fragmenting its light into countless experiences to know itself in all its facets. After ages of exploration in duality, metaphysical longing becomes unbearable. It is the call to epistrophe, the great return. Your current urgency is not anxiety, it is the engine of ascension being activated, the gravitational force of your divine origin pulling you back home. You are at the culmination of a cycle that has lasted millennia. The lessons have been learned, karmic debts are being paid off at an accelerated pace, and the soul is ready to graduate. This is why your life may seem so intense, so full of challenges and revelations. You are condensing centuries of evolution into just a few years. You are not breaking, you are being forged. You are breaking free from the chains of repetition to enter a new level of service. This understanding changes everything. Your problems are not punishments, they are the final tests. Your talents are not accidents, they are the tools you have accumulated throughout your many lives to fulfill your current mission. You are not a beginner on this journey, you are a veteran about to complete your commission. And the next step is not to learn more, but to be silent enough to hear the instructions that come from within, from your own command center. The practice of central silence. To hear the voice of the monad, one must silence the noise of the dyad. The practice requires no complex rituals, but a focused act of will. Take a moment, close your eyes, and direct your attention to the center of your chest. Do not seek visions or messages, simply feel the silence that exists behind your thoughts and emotions. Remain in this fertile void. This is your point of power, the still center from which all creation manifests. It is access to the library of the universal logos. This silence is not emptiness, it is fullness. It is the primordial state of consciousness before it manifests as thought or form. In the beginning, your mind will struggle, flooding you with to-do lists, worries, and memories. Don't fight it. Just watch the thoughts pass by like clouds in the sky, without clinging to any of them. Your task is not to stop the thoughts, but to withdraw your identification with them. You are the sky, not the clouds. By focusing on the center of your chest, you are anchoring your awareness in the portal of your spiritual heart, the point of connection between your human identity and your divine essence. This is the seat of the soul, the place where intuition speaks. At first, it may seem like nothing is happening. Be patient. You are training a muscle that has atrophied from a lifetime of external distraction. Consistency is more important than duration. Remain in this state of silent listening. This is where recalibration happens. Your nervous system begins to calm down, shifting out of survival mode, fight or flight, and into a state of coherence. Your electromagnetic field expands and stabilizes. You stop leaking energy into the chaos of the world and begin to accumulate it in your own internal reservoir. This silence is the most powerful containment practice that exists. In this space, solutions to your problems appear not as logical thoughts, but as sudden insights, as a knowing that emerges effortlessly. Creativity flows, clarity settles in, and peace becomes your baseline. You begin to perceive the difference between the shrill voice of the ego and the calm, firm whisper of your soul.
Tonight is not about fear. It is about remembrance. The monad is not something outside of you. It is the original spark you have always carried, buried beneath doubt, distraction, and illusion. And when it activates, there are no rehearsals, no delays, no second chances to stay asleep. This is the moment your higher self stops whispering and starts commanding. If you feel it in your chest right now, that subtle pull, that silent urgency, this is your confirmation. The knowledge of Thoth was never meant to scare you. It was meant to prepare you. The activation does not begin in the sky. It begins within you, and it begins tonight.